And it's such a fascinating time to think about your work because COVID has punctured our sense of, our belief systems that humans are
Mm.
somehow separate and have dominion over the planet, that this virus can quickly shut everything down. You have been thinking about this for some time, but I wonder if you've thought about how this has now shifted people's abilities to see some of the things, or at least be open to some of the things that you are exploring in your work.
The only thing that I thought a lot about this last 3 or 4 weeks about is dystopia. I feel like reality is beyond fiction right now completely. The thing that I'm glad about my work is that I feel like it's kind of like an in-between about what makes you human and how a volcano can see you as something extremely vulnerable right now, how a palm tree relates to you as a human being. I have the feeling that people are going to be a lot more open to connecting to non-human elements in a way that is not perhaps rooted in a new age tradition, that is more of a more emotional aspect of communicating with clouds and who you are as a human being. I don't know, I think it's an interesting scale, the virus, because completely invisible, no? But I find it kind of fascinating, the idea that at the same time it's nowhere. It is there, it's very real and it's killing people, and it's creating a major crisis, but at the same time there's nothing like, I think it's like the worst that can happen to humans is to fight something that they cannot see or relate to it in a physical way. They cannot enclose it in cages. They cannot act politically to it. They cannot exploit it. It's really like put everyone in a really vulnerable situation. But I think it has to do with the lack of a physical thing, no? Because that's how we're used to solving problems.
People have politicized it for sure. The systems of power that exist has been pushing us further and further toward extreme form of capitalism and individualism that has completely decimated important forms of collectivism and of thinking about, here in North America, labor unions and how they've been dismantled, or social health. In America, what this has done is also, in terms of our relationship with each other, that we actually all really do depend on one another in a very human way. We don't all just fit into a kind of economic graph where we're actually bodies that get sick and that need care and that need to be out there in the world and next to one another. I think this has really exposed importance. I hope. I mean, I'm hopeful as well as you. Like, I hope that this is a kind of wake-up call to a kind of other way of thinking about our responsibility to one another.
Yeah, I hope so. I think like it's, I don't know, it's kind of sad to see how much, like the pyramid is like economy, and then there's perhaps education, and then there's health, because education helps economy. And then if everything works well, then health. But the pyramid is completely flipped upside down. It's like you cannot have an economy without health. It's kind of like the principle of yoga. It's like your body first, and then you'll become a human being if your body works well. But otherwise, you cannot like have like your mind use your body as a puppet all the time. After a while, it collapses.
Yeah. And those who are most at risk are those who whose bodies are literally being used by these systems. So like migrant labor, forced to still be out there and exposing themselves to risk.
I hope that, I don't know, like from all the vulnerability there is right now and how fragile things are, things change. Otherwise, it's going to be just worse and worse. But I think the collapse that is happening right now has a lot to do with the inability to really find who to blame. I think that the whole system is so human-centered that when something that is not human enters it, completely destroys it. I think that, I don't know, I have the feeling that in the end, I'm kind of happy that the works that I've done so far are kind of like oracles somehow, that if you connect to them, you kind of connect to a different type of thinking and a different type of, I don't know, empathy or connection between the participants and the element that is not human. I have the feeling that that kind of empathy or connection towards non-human elements is going to be even more required right now.